everyone. I'll start a draft in just a second. I'll probably get back to making some videos. I kind of decided for Cube, just live streaming it was better. I'm playing a Martin 0018. Do I know the guitar song Windy and Warm? I do not. I do really like drafting green-white in this cube. I don't know, do I like it enough to first pick Avacyn's Pilgrim? What else could I pick? Vorinclex. Showdown of the Skalds. I don't think either of these lands are good enough to first pick. Like, if one of these was a fetch land, I would probably just first pick it. I think I'm just going to take Avacyn's Pilgrim. You don't have to draft green-white. I agree you don't have to draft green-white, but this pack's pretty bad. Between green-white and red-white, I think I prefer green-white. Like there's a lot of these cards I just wouldn't ever want to put in my deck under any circumstances. Like Collective Brutality. I don't really like having Benalish Night Counselor in my deck either. Or Young Pyromancer for that matter. Even this Werefox Bodyguard card does not impress me very much. I do like Sarah Paragon, especially if you can get the 3-1 that copies itself. You kind of win the game if the Paragon lives. The other choice is Duskwatch Recruiter. Touch the Spirit Realm is also pretty good. I was looking at some of the 17 lands win rate data, and Sorin the Mirthless is like, when I was looking, it was shockingly high. Which I don't really understand because this card seems like definition of dead average card. Not the Recruiter or Spiral. I don't really, I mean, Growth Spiral is good if you're specifically green-blue. I don't really like being green-blue. And the Duskwatch Recruiter, I think, is like a replacement level 2 drop. It's cube, Sorin grants cards. I don't, and yeah, but almost all of the cards that you're actually going to play with are going to be 2-for-1s in some form. I guess I'm taking Oracle of Moldiah. I do really like Crucius. Had Crucius been in my opening pack, I 100% would have first picked it. This is one of the reasons I really like green-white. I think Voice of Resurgence is great in this cube. And I think that one of the things that's going on with this cube is that the kind of controlling blue decks with lots of counters are actually pretty good. And white-green is kind of an aggressive or mid-range deck actually has a bunch of cards that are pretty problematic for them, and Voice of Resurgence is one of them. Toski is another one. And then also just like some of the flash white cards, especially Archangel Avacyn, the Wandering Emperor. Having said how much I like green-white, but these two green-white cards I think are both kind of horrible. If I had to play one of them, it would be Woodland Acolyte, but I don't even think I'm going to pick it here. I've had some really good Priest of Forgotten Gods decks, but this is not going to be one of them. I think this is between Ugin the Uneffable and maybe Migloz. I mean, Migloz is good. I don't know. I don't want to play any of these cards.
Every exploit ripples through time.
You have Blade Splicer.
Be mindful.
It's beginning to... Well, I don't know if green is really all that cut off. This is just a pack that has a bunch of lands in it. I don't know. We'll see. Oh man, Emrakul. Emrakul is my favorite trap card. I play it so often when I shouldn't. I'll just take the other, like another one of the good reasons to be green-white. This is another just really good 2-drop that always goes super late. I do like this card a lot. I think it's well worth 6 mana. It's like white Sublime Epiphany. It's not actually as good as Sublime Epiphany, but it is a ton of value when you get to cast it. Karn is pretty good. I disagree. I think the only time you should put Karn in your deck is if you disconnected during the draft. That 4-mana Karn, when you don't actually have any artifact synergies, so like making the Karn Structs isn't particularly good. I think it's just not a very good card. Migloz Wields. I used to really like being red-green aggro in this cube, and Migloz was one of the cards I liked. I think that because blue has kind of gotten better as they've cut mill stuff from cube and replaced it with just better blue cards, red-green can struggle a little bit against just having a bunch of its stuff countered. I think white-green is actually more resilient to that. So we have to see if I'm going to get my favorite combo, Huntsman's Redemption plus 7-mana Elesh Norn. Not out of this pack. This pack has some lands that are pretty nice. I'll probably wheel a land I'll be happy with. I wouldn't be surprised if the Sunpetal Grove wheels. I'm just going to take Luminarch Aspirant. I don't really like having the Great Henge in my deck all that much. It's too hard to get it out efficiently. Has been my experience. Like, unless you get Lovestruck Beast, it's just really hard to get this into play before turn 5. As much as I hate this style of card, I actually think this thing is pretty good in cube. Don't really like any of these cards. It's not a disaster if Scavenging Ooze winds up in my deck, but I already have 4 good 2-drops, so I'm not really looking for that. It's going to be really hard to make Bloodstained Mire a usable land. I don't think History of Benalia is a very good card to play with. I think this thing, when you don't have Knight synergies, is just really weak. Is this thing a Knight? I do have a Knight. I think I'm just going to take Terra Sunder. If I wind up with some black mana in my deck, I'll definitely play that. Do I want to spec to red-green and go Naya? I don't really want to be... I think if I'm going to splash a color, it's not going to be red. Certainly not, given that the Showdown of the Scalds was in the first pack. I don't know that there's any single red cards that I'd be that excited to play with. I don't want to add a color to my deck just to have Migloz. This is not my favorite Elesh Norn, but it can be pretty good. The one thing I don't like about it is that, I mean, it is bad against people who just filled their deck up with 3 mana counter a spell, or 2 mana like black kill a creature. I don't think I'm going to need to add a 3rd color, so it would have to be like something really good for me to want to branch off into a 3rd color. And I don't know what that, I don't know what that's going to be, but like I have plenty of cards just in my 2-color deck. I mean, I guess I could, if I really want some removal, I could splash black, but hopefully I'll pick up, like if I could get Fateful Absence or Swords to Plowshares, that'd be great. Wow, Elesh Norn, Mother of Machines plus Foundry Groundbreaker. I could have 4 Mishra's Foundries. Probably more realistically, I would sack one of the Mishra's Foundries to make the other 2 with the copy of the trigger, rather than just converting 2 lands into colorless lands. This pack's not that exciting. Selfless Savior is kind of cool if you get the Menagerie Curator, just because you're very unlikely to have a dog in your deck outside of it. I guess it's also pretty good with Sarah Paragon. That might make my deck. Mikaeus. There's also Lingering Souls. I'm not a huge fan of having Lingering Souls in my deck if I don't have payoffs for having tons of tokens. I guess I'll take Macass. I think the Ranger of Eos and the Vorinclex were both in the first pack, though. So those are two of the cards that make that better. This pack offers kind of nothing. I guess Zealous Conscripts is a card that maybe would make me want to splash red. One Sunpetal Grove. Sunpetal Grove did not wheel. That's kind of surprising to me. I mean, that means there's probably another person playing white-green, which is unfortunate. I guess I'm taking Stomping Ground. I don't think I would play Mazemind Tome. I'm not going to play any of these cards. This thing, I don't think I would want to splash with this thing. Maybe if I'm splashing red, I would play this. No, there's Kaya if I wanted to splash in black. I do like Kaya, I think it's pretty good. No love for Rexage. No, it's terrible. If you're, I'm playing best of one, so there's no sideboarding. You should never put Rexage in your deck. It is just so underpowered. It's one of the, like, this cube I think has a bunch of cards you should just never ever play. And Rexage is one of them. If you're playing best of three and like you really want to sideboard it in, I could see that, but in best of one, I just think it's way too weak. Like a 2/1 body is just too small, and there just aren't that many good targets for blowing stuff up. So there's a Wooded Foothills. Which would definitely unlock red for me. There's also a Settle the Wilds. Which I have a decent curve for Settle the Wilds right now. Wooded Foothills is also nice just because it's a land that goes to the graveyard for Serra Paragon. I think I'll take Wooded Foothills. Lightning Bolt, which isn't really all that exciting, and Elvish Mystic, which I will take. Cultivator's Caravan is also really nice. My colors don't feel that open, so I'm not expecting to wheel all that much. About things not being open. There's Ephemerate, which I don't think my deck does enough stuff to want to play with Ephemerate. I don't have a black land. I don't think I'm going to be able to use any of these cards.
You should leave before I make you disappear.
The Unblockable Food, yeah, that's another card I don't think you should ever put in your deck under any circumstances. This is a payoff. Archangel Abyss is great. And I have the Elesh Norn, so I can get double indestructible, which maybe isn't that helpful. This is kind of disappointing. Guess I'm going to take Uvenwald Oddity, just because I don't want to have too many 5-mana cards. Verdurous Gearhulk's obviously nice with Elesh Norn, but it's more important to have a good curve. This is one of the reasons you should never play Rexage, because like this card is just much better than it, and it also very rarely makes my deck. There's also a red-green land. I think I want the red-green land. I think I may be forced to play a few red cards. Oh, this card's really good. How many 5-color mana sources do I have? I have this, and that's it. The Ornithopter Paradise. I don't like it when this card makes my deck. But it may have to. Yeah, this... Usually white-green you can safely draft in it just because it's always open, but it was not open this time. Okay, another 5-color mana source. That makes things work out a little bit better. None of these cards help me. Ooh, the Gingerbread's still in the pack. I think Agent of Profane's actually pretty good. I don't like that that thing's still there. So I've got 20. I don't only draft green white, but I do draft it a lot. I think it's one of the better color combinations. I did sort of force it this draft. When I first picked Evison's Pilgrim, and I got Voice of Resurgence like 3rd or 4th, which from that point I was pretty locked in on being red-green, or being green-white rather. So I didn't get any black mana from lands. But I do have 2 black sources in my deck. I think that makes Nantuko Slicer fine. And I think I'll play Zealous Conscripts. Maybe Perforos's Intervention, just to have a little bit of removal. I didn't like that I lost to Sam's deck. I didn't like it when he had Karn. My deck was not very good, though. I had some cards in my deck that were quite bad just because I was forcing myself to play with Emrakul. Let's look up Karn's win rate in Cube. Actually has a 58% game in hand win rate, which probably makes it slightly above average. I still think it's pretty bad, though. Please don't take my Paradise Druid. How am I supposed to play my Zealous Conscripts? Okay. Bad. Sure, this is going to get countered. Please don't counter this. Disappointing. Now I'm in a lot of trouble. Yeah, I'm definitely ahead on board, but I've got 2 uncastable cards in my hand. Also, I'm no longer ahead on board. Maybe if Sune's intervention resolves, I'll be doing fine. Yes, I want to cast this before they get to loot. Just to make it less likely they find a counter. So I think if this doesn't resolve, I can't win. I probably should have actually just cast it on my turn then. I forgot that it was going to give me 2 extra damage. You could have some sort of sweeper, but that's fine. Come on. Mountain. I think I have 3 untapped sources of red. I guess I can also draw Cultivator's Caravan, so I'm sort of at 4. If I could get the Malcolm off the board. Might not be a complete disaster. I don't like that they're discarding Blue Sun's Twilight. Okay. It seems like it's incredibly unlikely I'm going to come back to win. At least they didn't mill any of the untapped red lands. There's stuff in my graveyard isn't that good. Oh, Forgefire Automaton. That is pretty problematic. Also can't beat Lolth. That's not looking so hot. Yes, I didn't get Thought Seized. Things are looking up. What's this on? It's on green. Lessnorn Mother of Machines is potentially very good against a green-blue deck. Voran clicks. Okay. This game's probably going to turn into a ground stall pretty quickly. Oh man, the Hydroid Krasis gets around the Elesh Norn and other machines. I've been cheated. I guess I'm glad they played it that turn as opposed to being able to get Vorinclex into play first. I wish I had the 5-mana Nissa. I think I'm gonna be unable to spend. I'm gonna have more to do with my mana than I can afford to because of Duskwatch Recruiter. Still no Vorinclex, huh? I think Tireless Tracker's shut down by Elesh Norn. This is looking pretty grim for the opponent. I don't know if I'll be able to kill them next turn. Probably be close. Yeah, that's not very good against Elesh Norn Mother of Machines. Yeah, I wasn't dead on board for multiple reasons. I mean, the Elesh Norn made the Crater Hoof not work, but also just the Warfox Bodyguard would have saved me. Hope they're not playing red-black. Because if they're playing red-green, I guess red-white could probably get this Elesh Norn off the board pretty easily. But 4-7 against a heavy red deck is nice. Fortunately, it seems like they're playing red-black. It isn't guaranteed they're playing red-black. Sometimes you wind up with like a Blood Crypt in your deck because it makes your fetch lands work. This is a static ability. Maelstrom's not gonna keep it as a ground creature only. Which is very sad for me. Oh, I hope they're using Bomat Courier. Just use it now. Surely the 2 cards under there are what you need. Oh no. Godric is taking to the skies. Those are some pretty good cards. This is extremely telegraphed that I have Avacyn, but I think I just need to have it in play. I don't want to let the Godric hit me again. The Warfox Bodyguard has a clause that prevents you from creating loops with multiple Warfox Bodyguards in play. That's why it says non-Fox. It isn't necessarily bad that the opponent attacked into this. They may have just decided that they couldn't win if I actually had Archangel Avacyn. Certainly, at this point, their board's not looking particularly good. Ooh, an elf again. I have 2 elves. That's pretty nice. Please live. Come on, Llanowar or Elvish Mystic, live. Okay. I guess against Baral, I'm just going to play Voice of Resurgence. Normally it would be better to just play the Cultivator's Caravan there, but if somebody put Baral in their red-blue deck, they're probably planning on trying to counter my spells. And if they don't have a red removal spell for this, it's going to make it really hard for them to play. Okay. Guess I want to get this out instead of Cultivator's Caravan, just so I can have some pressure. Next turn I'm going to play Voice of Resurgence, it'll be countered, and then I'll play Cultivator's Caravan. And then the turn after that I'll be able to kick Nantuko Slicer. Although that might be countered. interesting. Even if they have a card like Burn Down the House, it's not going to be that bad for me. I guess if nothing is in my graveyard, it makes the Nantuko Slicer less appealing. Could get a commit. I hope they play Memory. That'll make it so I don't have to worry about what to do with my Slicer. Okay. See what they're about. Games like this is why I think Voice of Resurgence is so ridiculously good in this cube. This had just been like a Scavenging Ooze, I probably would have gotten crushed this game. Ooh, the Frost Titan. Nice. This is a 7-power creature. If I play this in crew, I could eat one of these and jump. Ultimately, I think I'm going to just attack with the Voice of Resurgence and see if they trade. If they trade with the Frost Titan, I have an awesome Nantuko Slicer turn. If they don't trade, I can probably just play Duskwatch Recruiter. I think I'll just use it right away. If I found Giver of Runes, I would certainly cast it. I'll cast that too. It's kind of obnoxious. I can maybe lose now. Probably not. But just give them a decent shot. I guess they can also just Memory now. be... It's going to be really hard for me to survive this Glorybringer. They did a good job turning this around, at least. Well, Kicked Cyclonic Rift did a good job. As it turns out, I would have been way better off if I just attacked with my whole squad the turn that I played the Recruiter. So I think that I'm going to block this with Voice of Resurgence, and I will win if they have nothing and I draw Zealous Conscripts. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure I lose. Didn't expect to lose that one. Come on, live, Elvish Mystic. No. You're supposed to live. Don't like this Glissa situation.
Not to brag, but my friend's kind of a big deal. Nature flows with vigor.
I'm going to try and block and get protection. If they have good stuff to do on their turn, I'm obviously going to lose this game. Sanction event. Obviously going to choose even. That's not good. It's really not good for me.
One drop ripples and grows.
Okay. I'm going to Sune's intervention. Should I do it before they attack? I don't think so. There's a decent chance that they just start their turn by attacking. And maybe I get to eat the Land of our Vision Wary. I'm going to block Glissa with one of the tokens and just try to give it protection. They will be able to sack the Wolf Willow Haven in response if they want to. The Titan of Industry. I don't like that one. I've never done this before.
The ocean surges, life thrives.
All right, that was pretty good. Not that this isn't that big of a deal. I got 5. The Hive of the Eye Tyrant's kind of scary for sure in this situation. Real question is it worth it to kill Kiora? I think it is.
Don't miss trust me too much.
This allows them, they can hit me with Hive of the Eye Tyrant, but I can gain 3 life next turn from Sune's Intervention. They have like Vorin clicks. It would be bad for me either way. It's still maybe survivable, but it's bad. That's pretty bad for me too. It's White Sublime Epiphany. It's not a fake. I'm very dead. Maybe they'll put the life encounters on one of my guys. Nope. I guess I could have, had I held the Sune's Intervention, I wouldn't have died to that, but I was hoping to get something I could cast. And I would have lost either way. Alright, disappointing showing. I think I was on the draw every game. I had a lot of experience of my turn 1 Llanowar Elves dying to a 2-mana card. Now, what have we got? In the interest of not drafting white-green again, I think I'll just take Meathook Massacre, which is probably the best card. Isn't it Alchemy? Oh, no, this is not the Alchemy version. I think that the cube doesn't have any Alchemy versions of printed cards. I think the only Alchemy stuff is things that were just printed for Alchemy. Like, there's not... This is an Alchemy card, but it doesn't have the A in front of the Settle the Wilds. It's just an A22. Like, this would say A, the Meathook Massacre, if it was the Alchemy version. I guess I'm taking Lord Skitter. One of the decks I like being when you wind up with Meathook Massacre is like Priest of Forgotten Gods. And that's like usually you want to be either white-black or black-red for that. A Windswept Heath or a Heartless Act. I think I'll just take Heartless Act. In this cube, I think that the 2-mana killer creature cards are actually pretty high picks. Because basically every deck wants a couple of them, and there's really not that many of them in the cube. This Liliana's pretty underwhelming. I'm going to pick something else. Man, I wish I was streaming. I beat someone who had 4 of the Chandra emblems on me by disallowing one to win at 1 life. It was a great game. I think the best cards in this pack are Huntsman's Redemption and Halana and Elena. I don't know that this Huntsman's Redemption is particularly great in green and black, but I don't know that I've ever tried it. So we have... Wait, what did someone call this? The budget Sheoldred? Dollar store Sheoldred? Never seen anyone cast this card yet. It's not highly picked. It'll probably be in the pack when it wheels. I think this is either Bankbuster or Kaya. I guess I'll go with Bankbuster. Can be more underwhelming than Phyrexian Arena. Phyrexian Arena is real bad. In this cube, at least, I would say. We've got Murderous Cut, which I do like. Tenacious Underdog's also not bad. I'll probably just go with Murderous Cut. I think there's 4 Delve cards in the cube. The 2 blue draw spells, Murderous Cut and Become Immense. So the Delve cost on Murderous Cut is really free. So we've got some big red boys. Probably in my deck, Atali's wouldn't be that good because it seems like I'm going to be pretty low to the ground. So like the card I hit with Atali from my deck isn't going to be all that spectacular. I think I posted a screenshot on Twitter. I was playing the Vintage Cube, and I played Atali, and I hit the 15-mana Emrakul out of my own deck. I'm going to take Sune's Intervention. I like Karn more as a card to leave in the packs for other people to enjoy. This is a really good 2-drop. This is a really good land. I'll go with the good 2-drop. I guess it's not guaranteed I'm going to be white. I'd like to be white. So if I'm actually green-black... Did I win the game where I revealed Emrakul off of the Atali? Yes, I did. Maybe the stars are aligning for me to be green-black. I don't remember which pack had the Kaya in it. I thought there was a chance it was going to wheel. Elder Gargaroth is... I don't think it's a particularly good card for this cube. Because there's a lot of 2-mana... I guess earlier I said there aren't really that many 2-mana removal spells. But there are a decent number, and they do mostly all get played. And also, in Standard against a lot of decks, you were just guaranteed it was going to be the biggest thing on the board. And in this cube, you're not guaranteed of that. This cube, there's also a lot of 3-mana counter a spell, which is trying to play 5-mana sorcery speed cards into that is kind of miserable. So what do we got? For the green-black gamer, not much. For the white-black gamer, which I do, like my black cards do mostly, I think, go with a white-black or a black-red strategy right now, which is why I'm still open to that. Like, I think this would be a good card with a lot of the stuff that I've got. I guess this just isn't that good of a card, though. Bastion of Remembrance is also a good card with a lot of the stuff I have. I think I'll take the Bastion of Remembrance and probably the Sorin will wheel. Fatal Push. Oh no, the Menagerie Curator. There's also Esika's Chariot. Part of the thing that makes Esika's Chariot really good is when you can play it on turn 3 which right now my deck would not be capable of. I'll just take Fatal Push. It is also the first card I've gotten that only costs 1 mana. Which I kind of feel like I've failed in drafting if I get to the end of a cube draft and I don't have any cards that cost 1 mana. Should I take Breach? I've been less impressed with Breach than I was expecting to be in this cube. I think I'm just going to take Bloodchief's Thirst. I did look at the 17's lands data. This card has one of the lowest win rates. I can't even believe that it's something that has a measured win rate, though, because why would anyone ever play this? Cody, yes, if you listen to me talking, I said that I did lose because of that, but I mean, it's easy to see that once you realize that they had Cyclonic Rift in their hand. Scardian Dimension is just an outrageously good card. Is this the deck for Emrakul? It's not looking like it. Guess I should take a land. I want to play with Undercity Plunder. Doesn't seem great. I can't imagine ever putting this card in my deck, though. I could use some sack outlets for sure. Like if I could get, did that Sorin not wheel? It didn't. That's a bad sign. It would be really nice if I could get Yawgmoth. Do I pass Emrakul? Pack one, pick one. Not usually. I usually draft around Emrakul if I can, just because I think it's fun. It leads to the most fun game states, by far. I think it's the most fun card in the cube. Should I play it now that I have Key to the Archive, which does send a card to my graveyard? It would be a way to get a land in the graveyard. Black-white is the worst archetype? That can't be true. It's got to be better than green-black. This elephant person's building up a backlog of cards. It is true that white-black does not have very good gold cards. Do have the Savoy Tryon. If I get some sack outlets and a few more lands, I could do this. Wow, this pack is just chock full of garbage. All right, there's the Yawgmoth. Things are looking up. take the Yawgmoth. I'm pretty likely to wheel a card from this pack. I think the Rankle would be the card I would want the most, but that's maybe not that likely to wheel. But between... There's 4 black cards, this white card, and Sky Sovereign, and I would play any of those. Also, if I need to mulligan, probably mid-game mulligan will still be in the pack. I could take that one if I needed to mulligan for some reason. Wedding announcement, nice. If I'm lucky, the Vran will wheel, but it probably won't. Isn't Rankle bad? I don't think Rankle's bad. I think Rankle's pretty good. I never get to play AO because usually I'm drafting green-white and I usually have better 5-drops, but I think this time I'm going to play it. I'm going to take it and play it. This card's not particularly good. You're welcome from France. Okay. Guess I have to play Grave Titan. Come on, more cheap cards. Don't need another 6-mana Planeswalker. A Sun Titan. I guess I'm going to play Morbid Opportunist. I don't usually put this card in my deck. It is a very high ceiling card. It's kind of a low floor card, too. There we go. So I'm going to wheel the Rankle, and this next pack's going to have the Godless Shrine in it. Also, my deck has a cool combo. I play Lingering Souls and flash it back. Then I play the Yawgmoth. Then I'd play AO, and I just sack it right away to put 2 counters on all my stuff. Wow! It's even better than the Godless Shrine. Priest of Forgotten Gods. My deck's kind of getting saved by this pack. It's looking quite bad up until this point. I think I want the Rankle over Sky Sovereign. Probably gonna have to, I think I have to cut something now. This is disrespectful to green-white drafters everywhere. I'm just gonna take it and keep it in my sideboard to keep it safe for the next draft. So maybe I should cut Morbid Opportunist. That's probably my worst card. Was a Phiomancer close to... Not to... I think Priest of the Forgotten Gods is so good in my deck. A Phiomancer's obviously a fine card. But I have a really, like, a pretty strong setup for Priest, because I already have Jadar, and I had Lingering Souls, Wedding Announcement, Bastion of Remembrance, and Lord Skitter as well. Is Voice of Resurgence my pet card for this edition of Cube? I think my pet card for this edition of Cube is the Huntsman's Redemption, which I only like to use to tutor for 7-mana Elesh Norn. It seems like a lot of planes. It's because I have Amaria's Call. Irina really wants me to be able to cast my triple white Amiria's Call. I was thinking more I would just play it as plains. You would play the Opportunist over Tenacious Underdog or Bastion of Remembrance? I don't like those ideas. Sadly, I don't think I have any combos with Guardian Evangel. I don't have Sun Titan or Sarah Paragon. What's the name of the 3/4 Sarah that you can play things from your graveyard? The Iron Crag, nice. People may not have watched it, but I made a bunch of videos of Alchemy with the Iron Crag in my deck. It was a really fun deck. It's based around this card, Overcooked, which I wish Overcooked was in this cube. Overcooked is a really good card that is also quite cool. I think I'm going to play something for them to counter this turn, so I'll just play Bastion of Remembrance. I guess I should have played this it probably wasn't worth playing pre-combat just to get to exile whatever they countered it with. Like, there is a danger that they can have the Flash Reflector Mage. I only have one card in my yard, so I can't Heartless Act, or I can't Murderous Cut and play the Wedding Announcement. I hope they don't have a sweeper. If they don't have a sweeper, they're pretty doomed. So I can't quite afford to pay. I think this used to have a cool graphic. No longer, though. That's kind of sad. guess I'm playing Wedding Announcement. I've got the first part of my Lingering Souls Yawgmoth AO combo. We are missing a lot of other parts, though. I think the name what's like Nighttime Bouncer or something like that. It's one of the actual better blue cards in the cube. I don't think it's worth playing my AO into a pretty obvious counterspell here when I have Infernal Grasp as well. There's no Exorable this Kaya.
When you can walk through
Can I get rid of
walls,
this? I think we
anything
can.
looks easy.
And then I could still afford to kill that and play AO. But I'm not going to play AO because I can actually just play Grave Titan.
Signed up for.
I guess the plan is just do nothing. The Rankle resolves I win this turn, but I know that I need to win this turn. Kill that. I don't think I need to kill that. I think I'm just going to play AO post-combat. Let them save 6 damage here. They can't even afford to play a kicked Cyclonic Rift. They also don't have double blue right now, so there aren't that many counters that stop this. There are some, and that's one of them. I'd beat a Grave Titan of their own pretty easily. I would beat Meetup Massacre also. Well, maybe not easily, but I think I would beat it. Guess I could have had Crux of Fate. Although I think I would have beaten that too, because they would have taken a ton of Bastion triggers and then Rankle. Magda. I think I want to be sure to be able to block next turn. Magda. So I'm gonna take 2 damage. Ooh. It's protecting... It's hard to say what it's protecting. I guess it's protecting this thing? Oh, and they're... I forgot they were going to be able to do that. I should have blocked last turn. I just took 2 damage for no reason. Oh, gross. This game's looking maybe a little tough. How did I deal 3 damage? Oh, Wooded Foothills and Sacred Foundry. Come on, AO. Or just non-land, non-grave titan card. That's pretty good. Is the time to fear the Magda stopped? It's probably safer just to kill the Legion War boss. If I have a removal spell for Tenacious Underdog, the game would get pretty out of hand. Hopefully they don't have like a Glorybringer type card. Wouldn't be that surprising though. Oh, it's everyone's favorite card, the Grim Lavamancer, and this time it's a 2/2. I need to get my Lord Skitter to get this Grim Lavamancer under control. I probably need to actually block the Grim Lavamancer instead of trying to double block the Rampaging after. They do actually have enough cards in their graveyard that it's kind of scary. Forgot I had a way to get back the Sigardian Evangel. I could get back multiple ones. That's probably better. Get back 2 Sigardian Evangels and play the Hanger Backwalker this turn. See if I can bluff them into using their treasure. People may not know this. There is something that's in Magic that's almost identical to a treasure token called a gold token. That's a treasure token that you can sack while it's tapped. I think there's only one card that makes that though. I think aggro, mid-range, or control is the best strategy in this cube. I guess I think mid-range is, but I do think mid-range is a little bit... It can be a little bit tricky to make sure your mid-range deck winds up actually being pretty good against control. I don't think that the aggro decks that play like the 2/1s for 1 mana are generally very good. Like, I don't know if you would consider this deck to be aggro or mid-range. To me, this is a mid-range deck. I really value 1-mana cards that are good in mid-range and controlling strategies very highly in this cube. And I don't value the 1-mana cards that are only good in aggro decks very highly at all. And I think that's what most people think too. Well, Thurkwall Thorson's getting aggro with his question. So I could deal a lot of damage if I had if I get the Bastion of Remembrance and the Yawgmoth in play, and then I have an infinite white mana combo. I don't think I have any infinite white mana combos in my deck, so I'll probably have to just try to win regular. I've won the die roll a lot with this deck. That white-green deck, I felt like I lost, I think, every die roll. This time I've won. I don't know if it's every die roll, but it's certainly more than half of the time I've been on the play. It makes a pretty huge difference. No! I wanted to play Bastion of Remembrance. Should I just make a 3-1 to deal 2 damage? And it does give me another body in play for when I play Yawgmoth next turn. Yeah, I think I'm going to do it. Assuming that the Yawgmoth stays in play enough to get activated at least a little bit, I'm probably not going to run out of stuff to do. Especially against a white-green deck. But they might not have all that many answers to Yawgmoth. It is really sad to play this Guardian Evangel and not get to cast it a second time. It's disrespectful to the card, for sure. So we were going to block with the Scrap Gorger. If they blocked with the Scrap Gorger, I would have killed it and then gotten my token and killed the Llanowar Elves. They're still probably in a lot of trouble. Definitely not going to attack with the Yawgmoth into them having all this untapped mana. If they had Archangel Avacyn, it wouldn't go that badly because I could just shrink the Archangel Avacyn, but if they had the Wandering Emperor, I would be unbelievably sad. I guess I may need to still be in full control. know if Arena's going to give me a priority to sack this thing before the Decayed trigger goes off. We got to start working on the Scrap Gorger. It's not going to shrink itself. Thinking I might be far enough ahead that I should start slow rolling my cards just in case they have a sweeper, but probably the Priest of Forgotten Gods isn't going to be that good after the sweeper. And certainly, like, if they don't have a sweeper, if I get to untap with Priest of Forgotten Gods and Yawgmoth in play, there's no coming back for them. Is this an ETB? Yeah, okay. I guess the only real question is, do I need to use my Infernal Grasp? I guess I don't need to, but I think it's going to be way more efficient to just... Well, maybe efficient's the wrong word. It's going to be way faster to just do it like this. I might have had lethal if I had taken the time to do some math and just played the Infernal Grasp. Because I am missing out on a decent amount of damage and not having the Bastion in play and not needing to attack first. Is it worthwhile to sack the 2 tokens to kill the Scrap Gorger before their turn? I don't know. I didn't really think about it very hard. I guess the answer, I would say the answer to that's probably no, given that I had the Priest of Forgotten Gods in play. So there is some utility to just having more bodies. Also, I don't think there's nothing 6 mana in the cube that would have been disastrous if they'd resolved. Like, Farewell isn't in the cube. I hope their deck is a creature-based deck and not a counterspell-based deck. If they are a counterspell-based deck, which they're starting on blue, so probably they are. If the Bankbuster resolves, I'll have a decent shot. This card's also pretty good against counters. Very worried they're going to play Nissa this turn. They did not. They've got a lot of colors going on. We got a 6 mana card last turn from Settle. Show me the 6 mana card, please. You're right that it does look like they're set up to be an Atraxa deck, but they didn't have the right number of lands to get Atraxa off of Settle. It's just going to be Sublime Epiphany. Yeah, I want to spend my mana at least, so... Hopefully it's not Sublime Epiphany, but it could be. Wouldn't be that devastating with Sublime Epiphany. It was a Voracious Great Shark. If you guessed Voracious Great Shark, you would have guessed correctly. Guess I'll just chomp. I'm not sure that the 1/1's really ever going to do any better than that. Oh, that's a problematic card. You can't use Fatal Push to break shields. You're not getting a shield, though. You're just getting some life. They have 3 cards in the yard. I think they still haven't played their 6 mana card. Okay. It's on the scarier side. Actually, maybe it's not that scary. Yeah, that's really not that scary at all. Like a Fatal Push, I suppose.
We will regrow.
This is another Vintage Cube story. I had a game. We were right, they have Atraxa. I had a game where my opponent had, no, my opponent was irrelevant. I went Fast Bond with a fetch land on turn 1 and Ramunap Excavator. So I went Fast Bond, play a bunch of lands, including a fetch Ramunap Excavator Time Twister. Then I played like a Bird of Paradise, and then the next turn I played a Nissa on turn 2 and ulted it with 11 forests in play. It was extremely effective. It is true, we have yet to see their 6. So I've got, this is 8, 12, plus 2 damage. Yeah, I believe they're dead. Suppose they could have, like, Swords to Plowshares. Not be dead. You're looking pretty dead, opponent. It seems like a spot where it's pretty greedy to attack. Like, you just got a whole hand of cards from Atraxa. You don't want to play more conservatively to make sure you get to untap and cast some of them. Any thoughts on the traditional version of this cube? Do you mean playing best of 3 as opposed to playing best of 1? Sometimes I play best of 3. I think it's fun. I don't know that there's... I guess there's probably some amount of sideboarding that matters. But it's mostly just sideboarding depending whether or not you're playing against somebody who has like a bunch of counters in their deck. It's not like there aren't really all that many relevant artifacts and enchantments. And I guess also sweepers, you might sideboard in and out sweepers some. I stopped playing best of 3 just because there were too many people who just didn't even understand drafting. I don't know why there's more people in best of 3 like that, but I played against a couple of people who I don't think realized they didn't have to play all the cards they picked. Which is why I started playing best of 1. It probably if you're playing best of 3, it makes some of the cards like some of the 1-mana removal that's really situational, like Pillar of Flame, I think is in the cube, which I think is too low of an impact card to really put in your deck in best of 1. But I'm sure in best of 3 there are plenty of matchups where you're happy to have it. My opponent timed out on their mulligan decision and appears to not be taking the first turn. I'm starting to like my chances, even though my hand's kind of bad. I don't think I've played Meathook Massacre in a single game yet. I realized why the opponent attacked with that Voracious Great Shark in the last real game. It was because I guess I did have the Bank Buster, which they knew that was going to be able to attack on the ground, but they didn't know about the Knights from Sune's Intervention. If I was them, I still would have been tempted not. I probably would have played as defensively as possible. It's time to do more bank busting. Iron Crag. I like my 2-drop better than theirs. Even though theirs is probably going to be better on this turn. Nope, didn't even actually matter. Well, that's a good card.
Together, we will prevail.
That's a real good card.
Harness the elements.
Yes, I'm going to blow up their land and attack with Lord Skitter. And activate the Bank Buster. Oh man, they just tapped that for mana. That has to be a delay of game penalty when you do stuff like that. I guess maybe, arguably, they could have the 2-mana card and reward engine for like a haste creature or something, but really, that should probably be a delay of game penalty. This is just a ridiculous thing to do. Well, that's going to be a problem. This is why stuff like Nissa is problematic. Because it leads to things like this happening too early in the game. Ooh, they got a shield thing, though. I've gotten kind of lucky with how opponents have chosen to do the Titan of Industry.
Be wary of the ground you walk on.
Oh, do they actually have a 2-mana counter? They have Make Disappear. No, why did they type that thing for mana? I think they thought they could sack anything, maybe. I don't know what just happened. It was bad, whatever it was.
Do not assume I am fragile.
Really killed a lot of their lands this game. Kind of proud of it. Okay. That's a Kogla, and did they flip the Iron Crag? They did not. Oh no. This means that
The land fights for us.
they're going to get to keep their Nissa alive because they're going to have too many blockers. I don't think I have... I guess if I draw Heartless Act... Heartless Act or Rankle would be good draws. Guess I'll send the rats. I lose 1 rat to deal 1 point of damage to Nissa. And I get a drain off of it. Which next turn the Kogla can just eat the Bastion's Remembrance. Is that better than Iganjo in the O3? I can't.
Patience.
I couldn't afford to play Fatal Plush plus Jadar plus Iganjo, right? Oh no, I guess I could have. Yeah, you're right. I forgot that the Iganjo was going to make, or Jadar was going to make Iganjo cost less. That probably would have been better. I think it probably still wouldn't have been enough. There still won't be enough. We'll have to see, though. Ooh, they're getting a land back. All this land destruction is starting to kick in. This seems kind of hopeless. What could happen that would be good? Jump. Alpha. I still don't get the Nissa off the board. If I take it all, I can Alpha to get the Nissa off the board. Like, let's say I draw Meathook Massacre. Is that my best draw? Definitely die to Kogla under those circumstances, so I guess I have to chump. Well, I guess Rankle's my best draw now. Is this a human? Oh, this is a human with the Kogla too, so it's probably unwinnable. Forgot that was in my deck. I guess this does something. Wouldn't say it does enough though. Oh, it's possible. Can I even... Can they activate this? I guess I get to see. They have to crack their fetch. They crack their fetch and they can get a blue producing land like Breeding Pool or Hollowed Fountain. They can activate this. That doesn't do it. Alright, I've gotten the Nissa off the board, which I didn't think was possible. There is still this problem, though, that they have Kogla Timeless Witness. So maybe my best chance to win now is if they don't realize that those two cards go together. Yeah, this opponent would be dead if Mana Burn was a part of the game, because they do keep tapping their lands for no reason. I might be dead on board to the Restless Vinestalk. I don't know exactly what that card does. I still have Heartless Act in my deck. So let's block like this and just hope that I draw a Heartless Act. I need to draw a Heartless Act and have a chump blocker for the Vinestalk. I guess that does something. Where they can't activate the Vinestalk. Not really making much forward progress, but I am continuing my plan of just destroying a lot of their lands. I think I might be down on board. I guess not. I'm dead to a land, an untapped land. I'm also dead to... I'm actually dead to that. No, I'm not dead to that. That just didn't do anything. They just spent 4 mana on nothing. So I'm not dead to the 4 mana on nothing. Chapter 3 of this is going to be a problem. They appear to be playing a white-red deck. They might just be bluffing. But probably it's a white-red deck. Hopefully they don't have Adeline. I might be able to win if they have Adeline this turn and the rest of their hand is bad. I'm liking my chances against nothing. I think it's probably pretty good against their deck. Sure. There's a bit of a danger that they have Glorybringer. I think it's better to just play the Heart to Sacks rather than let them untap and maybe have Resto Angel or Ephemerate or something like that. Looks like they have Glorybringer or maybe Heartflame Duelist. Okay. Oh, that was bad. Forgot I was supposed to play that pre-combat. I'll just save it for next turn now. I wanted to leave up Murderous Cut and Naganjo. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. They've decided to go for a mulligan. Okay. This really shouldn't be legal. You should not be allowed to just mulligan on turn 5 like this. But they did. Somebody was asking earlier about best of 3. Invasion of Gobekon is the kind of card that I think is pretty terrible to put in your main deck, but probably has a pretty reasonable place as a sideboard card. Although I'm sure that everyone would want to sideboard it in more often than they should. It is going to make me play a little bit careful. And by that, I'm going to not let a Glorybringer flip it. If they have the 7 mana Elesh Norn this turn and a land, I could be in a lot of trouble. Realistically, if they just had the 7 mana Elesh Norn at all, I'd be in a lot of trouble. Alright, somebody has to be impressed that I just played around this Glorybringer. guess I don't need to hold the ganja. I can just play AO. I also don't have to Murderous Cut Glorybringer necessarily because AO is a dragon, so it can't actually get exerted on by the Glorybringer. That's a little scary.
Fire starter there is.
If I whiff, I'll be forced to... cut the Hardflame Duelist. Still gonna cut the Hardflame Duelist. Anything... I do have something in my deck that gets stuff out of the graveyard, so I'll leave the AO. I have Gix's Command.
Whatever. Figure it out on your own.
Had lethal with... You mean with pumping off of the AO? And then just letting them... That seems like a crazy way to play. Yeah, but like they still have mana on, and unknown cards in their hand, and my plan is I'm just going to let them flip Invasion of Gobakhan and like just hope that... It seems worse to me. Now what? This pack doesn't really have the finest of cards. I think that they should emergency remove Legion's Landing from the cube. It's just too bad. It's like somehow even worse than like the white mana for 2/1 cards. I think I'm gonna take Bloodstained Mire. I think it's like that, then Sun Titan, and then just close your eyes and take a card at random. I don't like this card because it requires you to know which cards are soldiers, and I don't want to have to know that. You want me to take Elite Spellbinder here? No, I don't think so. I'd like to pick a card that's more likely to work with Bloodstained Mire. I also don't think Elite Spellbinder, like, it's fine. I don't know that it's notably better than a lot of these other cards. I think I'm going to take Rekindling Phoenix. So I could take this if I need to mulligan in the middle of this pack. Expressive Iteration is probably the best card. Wouldn't say I love being red-blue, though. Maybe it'll be fun to be red-blue. Watley is pretty bad. I do love Gix's command. Thoughtseize is probably the best card, though. This Sorin is just too boring for you. I wanted that Sorin to wheel in my last draft so I could play it, but I do agree it's kind of boring. It's also not particularly good. There's Shark Typhoon. I could hate draft the Ironcrag from all the people who want to take it and put it in their deck. I'm just going to take Forsaken Crossroads. Should I take Lord Skitter? I do like being red-black. I think red-black's a good combination. There is Torrential Gearhulk. Maybe I should take that and try playing blue. I'll be blue. Probably just negate. What's my favorite red removal spells aside from Bolt? I think Molten Impact is probably the second best one, although that one, it's a little bit deck dependent. Like you can have decks where Mephit's Enthusiasm is better than Molten Impact. I feel like Dismiss is kind of one of my cards. For people who don't know, I was one of the people that popularized playing with Dismiss in Constructed Magic when it was first printed. And then I was heartbroken when years later, WotC had before one of the core sets was going to be released, they had a poll for, should we put Dismiss or Rewind in the upcoming core set? And Rewind won the poll, so they printed Rewind, which made me really question the rest of the Magic playing universe. So I think Perforos's whatever it's called is pretty good. The one that like deals double X. Outside of Lightning Bolt, though, they all are pretty situational. Well, I'm gonna take the mulligan in case I need to mulligan this draft. I think I've had a couple of decks where I was okay at getting Delirium, so I thought that Unholy Heat would be fine, because it is the unnerfed version of Unholy Heat. I guess I'm supposed to take Cyber Siphoner. I don't actually think Cyber Siphoner is all that good, but I also think Sea Double's quite bad. I do have Torrential Gearhulk, which is kind of a combo with Sea Double, but it's not that much of a combo. Ooh, the Ironcrag. I'll hate draft that from people who want to play with it. Are there any of the other style werewolves in this cube? Is Graveyard Trespasser in it? It'd be way more appealing to me to play with the werewolves if you could have both kinds of werewolves in play for maximum confusion. I don't like the mana rock with upside. Isn't this a downside? Like you might misclick and transform it at some point. This pack kind of offers nothing. There's Infernal Titan, which maybe I could play. Repeal, which I'm not wild about repeal. It's not really clear whether I'm playing black or red or a mix. I guess I'll take Infernal Titan. Baral's to buy back the Gearhawk and the Siphoner. I mean, maybe Baral's with the Siphoner or something. But I'm not going to play Baral's Expertise to return my own Torrential Gearhawk to my hand. That seems like the kind of play that comes up one game in 1,000. Like, you'd rather have your 5/6 in your hand than in play. Doesn't make a ton of sense to me. I do have the mana where I could maybe take Valky with mostly the plan of playing Tybalt. But I think I'll just take Call of Storm Giants. Yeah, Nightclub Bouncer is quite good. That is a very good card. There's no denying that. So I could take Dig Through Time, which is definitely the best card. It just makes it more... It's just annoying to play with it and Torrential Gearhawk in the same deck, but I guess I'll get over it. Does Guardian Idol have a bigger downside than the Iron Crag? Which one has the biggest downside? I guess the fact that this comes into play tapped makes it lose, but between the fact that you could flip it into this weird equipment, or you could accidentally spend 2 mana and turn it into a creature, they're both really bad. It's hard to know. Do I want Snapcaster, or do I want to land? I guess I'll take Snapcaster. I really need to get some removal spells. Ooh, it's the Nightclub Bouncer. I think this ability is a downside. You keep talking about it like you think it's an upside, Leafin Guard, but I'm telling you, you could wind up misclicking, or someone could Emrakul you and force you to transform this. I like that this card and Supreme Will are both in the cube. I guess Supreme Will does have the slight upside that the cards don't go to your graveyard, so if that was going to be relevant, you were going to get decked. It would be slightly better, but it's, for the most part, just strictly better Supreme Will. I don't know that... Do I actually want that, though? I guess. I'd like to get some cards that cost 2 mana. I guess I'll take Fairy Mastermind. Which is usually not a particularly good card in this style of deck, but it does have the power of costing 2 to cast, which is nice. I would like some red cards that kill creatures. The Lightning Bolt would be ideal. Molten Impact would also be nice. There's a Lightning Strike that might wheel. I'm hoping not to have to play something that bad, though. Should I try for this Baral's Expertise plan where I'm going to Baral's Expertise my own Torrential Gearhulk? It doesn't sound good. I think I just want Repeal. Repeal is potentially a cheap card. If you catch like something that made a token. Oh, I love playing with Kindred Denial. It's so much fun, but I think I have to take Steam Fence. Even Make Disappear would probably be above Kindred Denial, just because of the way my curve is. But again, I think I have to take Steam Vents. Steam Vents also makes the Bloodstained Mire a lot better. Ooh, this is a tough pick. I think I'm going to go with Brotherhood's End, just because I do feel like my deck is lacking a sweeper. But this is very much contextual. Probably want to play 18 lands in this deck. This is disrespectful to Voice of Resurgence. I'm going to pick it just to make sure that it sees some respect. I have the Iconoclast in my sideboard if I really want a 2-drop. Probably don't want one that bad. I might want to play with fire. I have not had good experiences with trying to play with Narset in this cube. I did not remember. Well, I wasn't counting on the Restless Spire to wheel, but I'm very concerned that my deck really doesn't have much removal. So I'm just gonna have to keep passing with my mana untapped turn after turn, and I won't have a way to catch up if I fall behind. Brotherhood's End at least gives me that. This pack, I don't really want to play with any of these cards. Okay, take the Drowned Catacomb in case I get a black card I want to play. Just take Sheoldred. That isn't the craziest idea. I don't think I'm going to splash a double black card. I think I'll just take Drowned Catacomb, and maybe if the next pack has Heartless Act in it, I'd play it. I don't really think I'm going to play either of these red cards with that blue card. There is a Heartless Act. But there's also Sulphur Falls. I think I'll just take Sulphur Falls. This Warzone Duplicator card's pretty cool. I do like it, but I think it's worse than Blue Sun's Twilight. It's been a while since I picked a 3-mana counterspell for my deck. Guess I'll take this one. I don't think Kolaghan's Command's all that good in this cube. It just doesn't feel like there's enough artifacts. I think it's a card I'd always play in red-black, but I'm not going to splash it in my blue-red deck. Ooh, Cyclonic Rift. Not one that I love. I think I'll just take Baral. I'd like to get one more spell. It's going to kill your Ironcrag. And you know what? It's going to be even worse than that, honestly. You're going to play the Ironcrag. You're going to play some sort of 2-mana legend. You're going to flip this thing into whatever it's called when it's flipped. Everflame, Hero's Legacy. Then you're going to spend your 3 mana putting it on your Thalia. Like the 3/2 version of Thalia. And then they're just going to have Gulligan's Command. I guess when you can tap this for mana and then flip it and then equip. So it might be effectively like you well, I guess you still effectively spent 3 mana. I'm not going to play either of these, although they're both
Those who cannot perceive
somewhat
beyond the
reasonable.
veil of reality are lost.
This is the Thalia you're going to do your combo with. Thalia plus the Iron Crag. Then it's going to be a Hero's Legacy. Then you're going to flip it. Oh, I kind of want to play with Chart a Course. I don't know what I would cut for it, though. Probably should play it. Maybe over Rekindling Phoenix.
Look upon my omnipotence.
It actually also wouldn't be a bad idea to play this Nicol Bolas. Maybe I'll change my deck a little bit. Gingerbrute. Yes, Gingerbrute. If you can get Hero, I forget what it's called. If you can get that thing on the Gingerbrute, though, that'd be nice. Does it give you any special abilities, or it's just +3/+3? And you lose all other abilities? Oh, no. The creature doesn't lose the abilities. The Iron Crag loses the abilities. So you can't be using it as an equipment and tapping it at the same time. That would be too good. So I think I want to play the Chart a Course, which made it into my deck. I don't want to play the Opt. Kind of inclined not to play this, not to play this. How many lands is this? 17 right now. Whoa, we're not going to play this many swamps. Why would Arena think I would possibly want to play that many swamps? I like Chart a Course here. I've got a bunch of small crappy dudes that I can attack with potentially. I didn't wind up with very much card drawing for what my deck is. Don't I have 4 black sources even with the way I constructed my mana? I have Swamp, Draenei Catacomb, Bloodstained Mire, and other swamp. I forgot to count the 2 swamps together. See, I'm going to Thoughtseize them. Then next turn I'm going to play this Shatterskull Smashing. Then I'm going to draw an island. I'm going to Snapcaster Thoughtseize them. And at this point they'll have nothing. It's almost like they already have nothing. My dream of using the Snapcaster to make the Chart a Course work probably isn't going to happen. But we'll see. I almost always play 17. Sometimes I play 18. I think you actually don't really want to... I think it's a mistake to cheat on mana in the format that... or the cards are as powerful as they are in Cube. Like, you generally can't draft a deck where you're going to be happy if you don't hit your 4th land drop on turn 4. The cards that everybody's casting are just too good. You fall behind. Okay. It's kind of nice the way this is all worked out, except for the fact that I haven't drawn more blue mana. I kind of expected that they were going to not want to Mephit's Enthusiasm the Snapcaster, just because they'd be potentially worried about, like, what else I might have. And it worked out. So that's nice. Now they're probably going to Mephit's Enthusiasm it, which I'm not going to negate. Are they going to Baral's the Snapcaster? Maybe. This person showed up with the wrong kind of cards for this fight. I guess Cyclonic Rift is decent against Nicol Bolas. So I need one more card in my graveyard before I can play that. Oh no! They're unlikely to just kind of go crazy with the Restless Spire and start attacking me. But I am vulnerable to it. I think what I'm going to do is going to counter the ability
I've got other things to burn.
and bounce it and draw a card. Because I already have the Gearhulk in hand.
Anyone who stands in my way is getting scissors.
I may have done this once or twice before. Sublime Epiphany and Torrential Gearhulk. It would be nice if I could find a land. I didn't really put enough lands in my deck. I'm always happy to beat that 6-mana Chandra. Brings me joy. You're correct. You did call shot that they were going to Baral's Expertise the Torrential Gearhulk. I will give you credit for that. Maybe, could this burn them out? Maybe I should have played that. I always have to reread that 7-mana Nicol Bolas. I don't think the good 8-mana one is on Arena. There was an 8-mana one that came out before that 7-mana one that was like pretty good. I think there's an 8-mana one that's one of those cards from the starter decks that might be on Arena that's really bad. That's a good card. That's a real good card. Not even close to being able to play this with a discounted cost. What if they got something good from my deck? It was an island. But they could have gotten something good. I wouldn't have liked it. I think I'm fine with them. Doing something to my hand. They might not even use it. Get rid of disallow. That's an annoying card. So I have Volcanic Spite in my deck. That'd be a really good draw. That Brotherhood's End. If they don't have a land. If they don't have a land, no, they've got the land. Probably falling pretty far behind. I think Opt is my only 1 mana card of relevance. Alright, this maybe gives me some hope. I mean, it's awkward that it blows up my own board as well. But if they spend their turn... I was going to say, if they spend their turn playing the Agent of Rafine, it'll be worth it, but... No, they're probably not going to just do that. Good news is the dig through time is going to be very cheap. So I think I'm just gonna hope to be able to get the Brotherhood's End back in my hand and have it resolve. Yeah, I know I can Cybus Siphoner the Brotherhood's End back into my hand. If this gets countered, I'll be able to dig through time. Well, those are some good cards. That's going to be a problem. I didn't think that I could win if they had any sort of interactive card there, which is why I just played it for 5. I guess had I played it for 3 and then been able to Volcanic Spite in response, I would certainly be in better shape, but then I would just have to be beating the cards from their hand. I thought they already played the Absorb Energy this game. I thought it was an Absorb Energy from my deck, but I guess it wasn't. I don't know what I was hoping to find. A Lutri Gamer. Come on, resolve. Nice. Not so nice. Oh no, it's the Field of the Dead. How will I ever defeat it? Field of the Dead always wins. It's never been beaten. No one's ever even come close to beating it. I think I'm happy with my hand. I think the card I like the least is Opt, but I don't know that it's really... I think I have enough mana that it's better to just keep the Opt rather than to just loot it to the bottom. The Field of the Dead continues to be close to being it's just unbeatable. No one can dispute that the Field of the Dead has never been beaten. That's rude. Oh no. I went to all the trouble to make that cost more and now they just got rid of it? Any thoughts on any of the new cards? I haven't looked at them. Those are the only thoughts I have to share. I think I'm going to be able to afford to cast the Dig Through Time. I don't know if I'm able to afford to keep Negate up. I'm with negating that though. I want to loot. I think I like my hand actually. Maybe I was supposed to loot to make the dig more castable. I don't think it matters though, actually. Alright, it's fine. It's annoying, but it's fine. That's not good for me. It's really not very good. Well, I had no idea that you could go and get lands with that thing. This is going to be a hard game to win. Is it a possible game to win? I don't think so. Field of the Dead, it's never been beaten. Guess I have to mulligan that hand. I think I'll hold off on the expressive iteration. It's Malcolm. In the head-to-head battle, who's better, Malcolm or Fairy Mastermind? Probably Malcolm. I guess Malcolm, when I have the Fairy Mastermind in play, attacking and looting really isn't all that appealing. Free card for me? Is this optional? No, it's not. It's optional. You could choose not to attack. It's optional in that sense. Huh? Was that good for them? I guess they wind up with their own card exiled this way. So if the hostage taker dies, they just get their own card back. That makes some amount of sense. I shouldn't have played that land. That was bad. That was real bad. I guess I'll just pass now. I should have just played Expressive Iteration and played the Fairy Mastermind. Probably going to be a good game for Brotherhood's End. Yes, I'm keeping that. It would have been nicer to have a 2-mana counter. Oh, it's pretty awkward now that I kept it. I don't even get to play it on the discount rate. Well, okay, good, that worked. I was worried about what was going to happen if they had a counter. I'm gonna get this one. I know it's gonna resolve. can't bounce your own stuff with this, can you? Yeah, it's only opponent controls. Didn't really enjoy that all that much. I do get to discard it if they want. Well, I guess they get to grow the thing. If the top card of the deck is a spell. It was a fatal push. What I've left in my deck that actually gets something off the board? I guess Sublime Epiphany, Nicol Bolas type cards. Please try to counter it. You know you want to counter it. You don't see the Benevolent Geist hiding in plain sight. Thoughtseize was not a good draw. I guess I do have them dead on board. An untapped land would be nice. I'll be a coward. Definitely willing to let that thing hit me down to 2. Fairy Mastermind. No. So if I draw an untapped land, Confounding Riddle wins. If I draw a spell, it's way trickier. I think I'm gonna play this. Well, that's pretty good for me. It is true. The Thoughtseize is a big problem right now that my spells can't be countered. even by myself. So if I had accidentally cast that Thoughtseize, I couldn't even counter it. Yeah, I think I can probably do better than that. I'll probably be able to make land drops off of having Volcanic Spite and Iteration. It's not that much of a danger I flood out either. I think we're gonna say goodbye to the Torrential Gearhulk for now. Maybe you'll be back later. I would prefer to have the Torrential Gearhulk to that one, but certainly better to have the Gearhulk on the bottom and this in my hand than to have this and the Gearhulk in my hand at the same time. Whoa, we gotta counter that one. That would have been a problem. Yeah, I don't think I care about that enough to counter it. Do I care about that one? I guess I should counter it. I'm willing to block. There's no very good attack from them, I don't think. Rude. I like this guy. I'll take some of that action. Goodbye. I think so far Inferno Titan would have been mostly better than this Nicol Bolas. I don't think I played against very many black decks, though. Or I didn't draw the Nicol Bolas very much against the black decks. Gonna play this on turn 2 for sure. So I would like, I guess I'll play this on red. I really want to wind up with double blue mana, but I do have Charted Course and Volcanic Spite to help me find the second blue, which it looks like I may be needing that help. Unscry. Oh, I forgot I could get this land. It would have made things so much easier if I just remembered that. The Lord of Luxury. What if they got a good card from my deck? I hope they didn't. I hope they just got a counter spell and it turns out that their deck has no way to kill a Benevolent Geist. So the card just can never do anything. It seems kind of improbable. But maybe it'll work out. Just want more lands. You're not a land. Are they going to ephemerate it? No. I guess I'm on pass here. Maybe end to turn Fairy Mastermind. We figured out what card they took. It was Expressive Iteration. Now it is revealed. That card's not looking that hot. I think Expressive Iteration was better there than Volcanic Spite. Could have been wrong, though. I guess I have Snapcaster Volcanic Spite for the Flesh Gorger. I'm gonna actually let them hit me with the Flesh Gorger once. They also have 2 flying creature lands. They might not have counters in their hand. It's a little bit weird that they didn't kill the Benevolent Geist and instead killed the Fairy Mastermind. Yorion. But that's just a main deck Yorion. That wasn't a... There's nothing fancy about that Yorion. Maybe a little bit greedy. We do have Ephemerate. I didn't enjoy that. I don't have to play for Flesh Gorger. Oh, you're right. I lost 3 life for nothing. Forgot about the Benevolent Geist. Man, if this had not been something I could Disdainful Stroke, this game would have been punted away badly. It still could be pretty bad for me. Ugh. I don't know if there was a... way to have won that game. Did they have... I wanted to see if they had enough blue that they could have played Disdainful Stroke. They must not have had enough blue for Disdainful Stroke. They would have certainly Disdainful Stroked Sublime Epiphany. I probably should have just played the Torrential Gearhulk on my turn. Alright, well, that's it for me for today. Thanks, everybody, for watching.